Enjoying the show? You can help others find it and enjoy it too by giving us a 5-star rating or review. If you feel like reaching out to us with a question or comment, you can send us an email at mywifetherd@gmail.com. And don't forget to visit our website at mywifethedietitian.com, as well as our social media pages. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Enjoy the show. It's Rob and Sandra from My Wife the Dietitian, and this is Nutrition Nuggets.
Yeah, we're talking about easy, healthy lunch ideas.
Oh, who doesn't want those?
Well, most of my clients struggle with what to make for lunch.
It's a tough one. It reminds me of breakfast. When we talked about breakfast a few weeks ago, we're like, there's just a few things that are typical breakfast foods, and lunch is kind of the same. If people think, okay, well, what else is there besides sandwiches?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. There's so many more things.
Especially if you pack a lunch for work, it's just a bit more challenging.
Yeah, exactly. And most people do pack a lunch either for work or for school. So it is actually way better for your health if you brown bag it. Like if you do have a lunch that you take with you versus going out at lunch day after day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
And there's some little hacks also to have the food available that you have at home that you can pack for lunches. Like just when you are cooking dinner, cook a little extra. Like try to cook certain staples like beans and lentils, put it aside, or like meat or chicken or whatever you're cooking for dinner, have it like put it aside in another container for your lunch.
I was laughing because you do that. You work at home a lot more now than you used to, but when you were going to work, you would often at dinner, you would take that extra little bit of our dinner and tuck it away, and I'd go back for seconds and there wouldn't be any, and you're like, oh, it's my lunch for tomorrow. I'm like, but I'm still hungry. What about now?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But yeah, you did get some lunch the next day, so that was a good thing.
Yeah. And if you're always like if you make rice or pasta or quinoa or any of the grains, try to make extra, because it's actually the leftovers are better. I think we've talked about this in other episodes, how there's those...
By better, you mean healthier? More nutrients in them or something?
Yeah, lower glycemic index. You know how the consistency is different the next day with rice and with pasta?
Yeah. It's congealed a bit more.
Yeah, and actually it's very good for your gut health.
And it's just easier to cook a whole bunch and have it on hand, and then it's ready. You don't have to cook it for lunch. It's already ready for you, and you can just pack it.
Exactly. And it's like if, double or triple your recipe at dinner so that you do have leftovers to have for lunch. Like that's a good strategy. If, you don't mind leftovers, like hopefully people can eat leftovers. Otherwise, you do spend some time making a lunch in the morning, but it's always, I find there's more time and you're already in the flow in the kitchen at night with the dinner meal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the good tip.
And sometimes it's good to kind of have a plan. Like having a plan makes life a bit easier when you're going through your week. So if you make a list, maybe on the weekend, and you go grocery shopping on one of the days of the weekend, like the Saturday, and then on the Sunday, you could do some meal prep. And I find that really helps with a lot of my clients. If they get into that habit, it's really helpful for lunch prep.
Mm-hmm. I know with my lunch that I eat at home often, what really helps for me is having the right food on hand. It just makes making lunch that much easier. Because I'm kind of through with sandwiches as well, and I like to just have a big variety of stuff. It's kind of like a bowl, like how the poke bowls are common now or popular. It's just a bowl of whatever's available in the fridge, and it'll be some sort of greens on the bottom, arugula or spinach, and then I've got hard-boiled egg, or like today I had a piece of leftover chicken breast from last night's dinner. There was some baby tomatoes, some peppers, some kimchi. I had a bit of cottage cheese in there, some pickled beets just in a jar. Like you buy pickles, you can buy the pickled beets, which are really good for you. Mm-hmm. Had a bit of blue cheese. I threw some cashews on the top and some olive oil and some sesame seeds. And then I had a piece of sourdough bread with some guacamole that I made the other day.
Sounds delicious.
Oh, it was so good.
Oh
And
my
there was
gosh.
so much variety in it. And it was just so much more exciting than a sandwich.
Yeah, and I like that combination of having some cooked vegetables, some leafy greens, some like raw vegetables, some like the cherry tomatoes, so that you get like that variety, that crunch. You get different nutrients from having cooked and pickled vegetables. So it's kind of cool. And I always say, think greens, seeds, and beans. Think
Okay, yeah.
greens, seeds, and beans for lunch.
Yeah, yeah.
But also, it's similar to dinner in terms of the plate ratio. Do you remember we've talked about the plate ratio before?
Mm-hmm.
So you've got half your plate as vegetables,
Yep.
and then we got a quarter plate as the protein.
Right.
So that could be what?
Well, on my plate, it would have been the little piece of chicken breast and the cottage cheese and my something else there that was protein.
The chickpeas or beans?
Well, the nuts, I guess. I was thinking.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, chickpeas, if I had some. I didn't have any beans on my plate. My bad. But next time.
And when I say beans, like greens, seeds, and beans, I'm talking about legumes and the pulses and the lentils and, kidney beans, those types of beans, not the green beans per se.
Yeah.
I mean, those are fine too, but we want to get more beans into our diet like 4 times a week.
Right, right. And yeah, that would have been an easy one to add. What would have been good there is like air dried chickpeas because they become like little crunchy. That's a bit of work.
The air fried?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what we're saying. If you have this stuff kind of prepared, and the rest of the stuff that I had, it's just out of a jar. I mean, it took me more work to take everything out of the fridge and put it back in the fridge than it did to put it on my plate.
Yeah. And you could also like shred a little bit of cabbage. Like if you have a purple cabbage or green cabbage, then you just shred a little bit of that on there and, cut some baby carrots up or put that just on the side. And I think we should go back because we haven't finished the plate ratio.
Oh, right, right.
So the other quarter, so half the plate's veggies, a quarter protein, and then a quarter starch. So like a whole grain, and like at least half of your grain should be at least whole grain in your day, but more than half would be even better. So what, like quinoa, whole wheat pasta, brown rice or wild rice, those types of whole grains, or even like a really grainy, like sprouted grain bread or rye crisps like wassa or the Mary's crackers or that kind of thing. So that's kind of like the balance of a plate or your lunch. And so just think of that even when you're building your lunch to take to work. So we actually have quite a few ideas along with Rob's awesome lunch that he had today.
Yeah, my lunch reminds me, and I've said this before, like my favorite kind of going out for dinner kind of place is a buffet because you get to go and just choose what you want and the quantities you want. And,
or like a salad bar.
Oh, I love salad bars. So that's what my lunch is like. And we stopped at a Subway the other day on our way home from wherever we were traveling, and they've got these, well, they call them rice bowls, I guess. So it starts with rice, and then in Subway they have all the toppings, and you just choose what you want. And I wanted everything, and it was awesome because it's all the stuff I like, and it's a bunch of variety, and it's all fresh. And so that's how I like to eat. And every bite's different, and it's easy enough to do that to take to work too if you buy the right container. So
yeah, absolutely. That makes sense, definitely. And also, like, if you find recipes and say you don't have a certain ingredient, but you're trying to make your meal, just get creative and use substitutions. And you don't have to use, if it calls pinto beans, you can use black beans or, a different type of bean. You don't have to always use exactly what the recipe calls for, because that's how recipes are made, is they just are shifted a little bit with some of the ingredients. So
totally,
it's great to be creative in the kitchen.
Yeah, for sure.
So number one, I'm going to say is the Cob salad, like a chopped Cob salad.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I was eating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So a lettuce base or some green base with a bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah, and you can use frozen kernels or because they'd be cold the next day, they wouldn't be frozen anymore, which is nice. But
kernels of what?
Of corn.
Corn.
Yeah.
Is there?
Like, it's almost like a Mexi salad too.
Yeah,
like,
true. Okay.
So you've got lots of different vegetables in there. So chopped up,
right?
Pretty much, and different sizes, like different ways they're chopped. So they're not always chopped the same way. They could be, but just for variety. And then you also get, if you put leafy greens in there. So remember, think greens, seeds, and beans.
I'm just thinking about that salad you had when we stopped at another restaurant a few weeks ago. It was a charcuterie salad.
That's on the list.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. I'm jumping ahead.
No, that's good. Let's talk about it. It's the charcuterie salad. It's like a charcuterie lunchbox.
It was a really unique idea.
Yeah.
It was good.
Oh, yeah. Lots of greens again. That's the key, is try to get greens every day in your lunch or dinner or breakfast. So it could be raw leafy greens like arugula or spinach, or it could be cooked. But getting greens every day is really important for your eye health and really important for like an anti-inflammatory type diet. And it's really good just overall. So we really want to get those greens. They're good for our blood vessels, or for our blood to be pumping through our body, good for our heart and our cardiovascular system. So green leafy vegetables every day. So think greens, seeds, and beans. So the charcuterie has a whole bunch of different vegetables. Olives, might be roast beef or chicken, maybe some breadsticks on there.
Yeah, it was kind of like a Mediterranean. Like it had a lot of, did it have some feta in it maybe?
Yeah, definitely some cheese for sure.
Yeah, it seemed very Mediterranean.
And like cranberry, like dried cranberries. Yeah, it was very interesting and just delicious. And actually, that's the next one is a cranberry kale cabbage salad with chicken.
Oh, yum.
You know, those we always get those.
Yeah, it's a bag salad, but I mean, you can make your own pretty easily.
Yeah, but the bag salads are great because they're so easy. You know, anything that makes getting more vegetables in easy, especially for the whole family, it's a win in my book. So those bagged kale, cabbage salads that have like the cranberries and then the pumpkin seeds.
Pumpkin seeds, right?
Yeah. Oh, and that's what I also wanted to say. It's super important just to have on hand like lots of seeds and lots of nuts. So let's go through what type of seeds and nuts to have in your kitchen.
Well, we've got peanuts, almonds, cashews. Did I say walnuts?
Yeah.
I mean, those are the basics. I think the other ones are getting a bit fancier. You've got macadamias and hazelnuts and chestnuts and what else is there?
Yeah, like slivered almonds.
What's that big one called?
The Brazil nuts.
Brazil nut.
Really high in selenium.
Yeah.
And hazelnuts, pistachios. You mentioned peanuts. So that's awesome. And then seeds. We did a whole episode on seeds, the poor cousin of nuts, right?
Yeah.
Way back, I don't know how many.
I eat that stuff like 3 times a day. I put it on everything. I love the nuts. And
the seeds.
And they all have a different flavor too. Like every nut is different. The flavor in it and the texture and the crunch and and the seeds. You've got your pumpkin seeds, your sesame seeds, your sunflower seeds,
the hemp hearts, ground flax seeds, chia seeds, poppy seeds.
Grind down and
exactly. Remember Amanda Archibald talked about
sesame seeds, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Put them on everything.
I've started doing that.
Yeah, me too.
It's amazing how good I feel.
There you go.
Oh, it's like night. I should take a before and after picture.
I hear over and over and over again from clients all the time that are trying to lose weight. They won't eat seeds and nuts because they're high in calories.
Really?
Please eat your seeds and nuts. They're so important for your health. And stop thinking about calories. Calories, like get your calorie app and throw it away and trust your internal cues, your internal hunger cues. It's really important to get rid of those calorie apps because they do more harm than good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you know what? The nuts and seeds, you eat them. They're high in fiber. They have those good, wholesome phytofats, the plant fats that are so good for us, like anti-inflammatory. They're good for our gut health, and they keep us feeling full and satisfied, and they help us with our bowel movements. Like there's so many good things to say about nuts and seeds. They're Mother Nature's little powerhouse of nutrition. And to say, I'm not eating them, they're too high in fat, that is old school thinking. Just take that out of your mind because it's not true.
There you go. Sandra's rant for the day.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, let's go back to the lunch ideas. Cucumber tuna green goddess wrap.
Well, that sounds sexy.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
Sounds like a beach throw, like a beach or towel.
Yeah, I know. If that was on a menu somewhere, I'd order it just to see what it looked like.
It's like a mermaid.
It's just come out with like this like sexy music and on a fancy tray and
Cucumber
it dim
tuna
the lights a
green
bit.
goddess wrap.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, it's obviously got cucumber and tuna in there, and maybe the wrap is green too, so it's like
Oh, right.
all green,
Interesting.
but delicious. Yeah, with hopefully lots of green leafy vegetables.
Wraps were my thing sort of in between sandwiches and what I eat now. I still eat wraps. I mean, I find wraps are kind of a neat way to contain a whole bunch of stuff instead of putting it in a bowl.
Yeah, and you can wrap up your leftovers from the night before.
I've put like mashed potatoes in a wrap before. I mean, it's
and
not
like coleslaw.
Yeah, you can do anything. It's amazing, and it's just this thing you can hold in your hand and eat whatever's in it. It's great.
That's right. Do you remember when we had our kids were little and we had to, it's like you need a one-handed meal?
Mm-hmm.
The wraps are great for that.
Yeah, because you got a kid on your hip and you only got one hand to cook dinner. Yeah.
Or eat.
Yeah, that too.
Exactly. Okay. All right. The next one. Buddha or poke or grain bowl. You mentioned that at the start in the episode Nutrition Nuggets 37. We talk all about that. So check that one out. Another one, the roasted veggie mason jar salad with chickpeas and pumpkin seeds. It's a layered salad that has all that combination of protein and veggies, and like it's a plant-based protein. And then you also have some seeds and grains like some quinoa. And so also some dressing in there, and it's in a mason jar, so it's a really easy thing to bring to work.
A big mason jar with a long fork.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or you can just carry it in that and then bring a bowl and just shake it up and then add it.
I guess you'd have to roast your vegetables the day before, and they.
Oh, you don't want to roast them at work? No,
Well,
I'm just joking.
No, exactly.
So joking.
Stick them in the microwave at the lunchroom, and
no.
Are they good the next day though? Like, do they have the same kind of like? They don't last long enough in our house for me to know what roasted vegetables are like the next day.
Really? We have them. Rob, I use these all the time. I roast a whole pan of all of assorted vegetables, and then we put them in grain bowls the next day, the next 2 days.
I did have some in my lunch the other day.
Just today you did. Yes.
Okay.
The roasted red pepper and the roasted tomatoes.
All right. I
potatoes.
can vouch. They're good.
But again, remember, if you have like a variety of different vegetables in your lunch, so it doesn't all have to be raw, like just the whole idea of, when I was growing up, it was like carrots and celery for your lunch
and apples.
Yeah. And fine. That's okay sometimes, but it's so nice to have a meal that actually has some roasted veggies in there, and then maybe some green leafy, arugula on the top, and spinach, and maybe some shredded cabbage.
Mm-hmm. And when you're sitting in the lunchroom and the person beside you pulls out their bologna sandwich and they look at you and say, "What do you got today?" And you're like, "Well, I've got this quinoa salad with roasted vegetables and garlic and blah, blah, blah." And they'll be like, "Whoa, look at you. Aren't you fancy?"
They'll be like, "Oh, can we trade?"
No doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. No. And then this is another one. It's a chickpea and red pepper lettuce wrap with tahini dressing. So that's another wrap, and it's made with the chickpeas. Remember in the can, the different beans in the can, you just rinse them under the tap in a colander and get rid of all those juices. And then you can either use them like that in the mason jar salad or in whatever lunch you're making, or you can put them on a cookie sheet and sprinkle some spices on there, and you can roast your chickpeas so they're crunchy.
Yeah, different texture.
Yeah, exactly.
You could also like mush them down and make a paste out of it, I would think, right?
Yeah.
So that you can spread it. Kind of like hummus. Hummus has a few other things in it, but you could figure out a way to make a paste out of any bean. I mean, that's what refried beans are. It's just pinto beans that are mushed down and...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And then there's another one, edamame and vegetable quinoa bowl. So it's similar to a grain bowl with the edamame green, the green edamame soybeans.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get those in the frozen food section in a bag and then just defrost them the night before and make that bowl in a mason jar. Bring it to work that way. Another one would be a chicken salad with grapes and with wild rice. So that would be, like with some sort of creamy dressing, like mayo, and then grapes all cut up and vegetables in there, like cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very green, depending on the grape color. It could be purple grapes or green grapes. And then, like we said, sprinkle them with the seeds, the pumpkin seeds or the sunflower seeds or sesame seeds or all of the above.
Exactly. The thing with all of these too is they're all just ingredients that ideally you've prepped. So if you open your fridge, you've got a jar of this, a jar of that, some stuff that you've created and put in a little bowl, maybe a thing of rice. And so making your lunch is just like, okay, I'm going to throw a scoop of this, a scoop of this, a scoop of this, a scoop of this, and a piece of this, and a piece of that. And there's your lunch. And then the next day you do the same thing because you have everything ready in your fridge. Have all the parts and you're just putting all the parts together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right.
I remember going to a buffet years ago too. It was amazing because it was a pasta bar, and I still love pasta, but it was a pasta bar where you'd choose the noodle that you wanted, and then you'd choose the protein that you wanted to add to it. So all the different types of meat they had. You'd choose the kind of sauce you wanted, and then you'd choose all the different vegetables that you wanted or didn't want on it. And then you'd choose like if you wanted cheese on top or, it was like a Subway, but for pasta. And it was like, this is amazing. and then they'd weigh it. That's how they'd charge you.
I remember that.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. But I loved it. I thought this is a great thing because it's like, yeah, I want more of that. Keep it coming, And I didn't understand that they weighed it at the end, and I wasn't paying for it anyway. I think my parents did, but it was great. So you can set your fridge up the same way and just have everything ready, cut up, sliced or grated or whatever in containers. And then you just pull out what you need. Pack your lunch or eat it or put it in a bowl if you're working at home. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did that with when their kids were little. We had a little section in the fridge, or actually their own little fridge that had all of the lunch type items in there. So like the baby carrots and all the different vegetables and the oranges, like things that are ready to just pack for lunch, like the little cheeses and
exactly.
And then also they got used to having leftovers for lunch too. So as they got older, they would pack their lunch from the dinner we had, which was awesome to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it worked like a charm. Our kids were making their own lunch when they were in like grade 3 every day. And they liked it because they were independent. They got to choose, like come grocery shopping with us and choose some things that they wanted to have in their little fridge for their lunches. And it really worked. So give that a try if you're a parent with young kids. It was a game changer for us because we didn't have to make lunches every day.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And there's some school districts that have like a lunch or a breakfast program. And I just heard yesterday from a client, wasn't in our local community, but somewhere in our province here. And their school actually offers like butter chicken with noodles and like just really delicious.
Wow.
Like not just like chicken strips and fries and macaroni and cheese, but actually real like adult food, which was awesome for the kids. And the kids, they were bringing their lunch to school, but then realized that all their friends were eating like royalty. So,
no doubt.
Like I want what the school is.
Gourmet lunches.
Exactly.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's great.
Yeah, that's great when school boards finally get on board with feeding kids properly.
Mm-hmm. And healthy eating.
Awesome. Was there any more tips there?
I think that's about it. That's a lot, though. I think we did 10 with yours is 11.
Yeah, we can take some away. No, we're joking. You can have all those tips, even the extra ones.
There's so many more, but we'll just leave it at that for now.
There you
go. It's supposed to
go.
be a nugget.
Well, it's a long nugget. It's a big nugget. Right on. Well, hopefully that's going to help you guys make your lunches, make them a bit more interesting. And we'll have some more information on our website, our social media pages and stuff too, that we'll be adding pictures. And if you guys want to send us pictures of what you make for lunch, we're happy to post them. We want to share not just our stuff. We'll put anyone's stuff on our pages. So send us some pictures, some ideas, what you guys make, your recipes, and yeah, we'll throw it up there.
Yeah, we'd love to see what you're making. That's awesome. I love hearing the creativity that people have when it comes to different meals, and lunches are always a struggle, it seems, for people. So hopefully this will give an idea of like just how to build a healthy lunch.
Exactly. If you have questions for us or ideas for the show, you can send us an email as well. We love hearing your questions, your comments, all that stuff. So our email is mywifetherd. That stands for registered dietitian, in case you're wondering. mywifetherd@gmail.com. The website, mywifethedietitian.com. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And we've also got a newsletter we've started that you can access that on our website. There's a subscribe button there. And that's just basically a weekly newsletter. It's free. You just sign up and we'll just send you updates on what we're doing and upcoming shows and some different downloadable things that we'll put together from time to time. So it's worth checking out. So that's on the website. I think it's on the bottom of most pages on the website. There's a subscribe button. And don't forget to rate and review the show. That's always helpful. It keeps the show moving forward. It helps new people find it, that sort of thing. We always appreciate when you can rate it or give us a review. If you're feeling wordy, that's always awesome too.
Yeah. And if you're talking to your friends or your colleagues, your family, your mom, your sister, your aunt, please let them know what you've learned on this show and show them how to access it through YouTube or through any of the podcast providers like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Podbean, any of the ones that you might be using to listen to podcasts, and share the love. Spread the word around that you're learning some information and hopefully it's helping you.
Exactly. We all eat, so we all want to be healthy and live our best lives and live for a long time. So let's help everyone stay healthy. All right, well, we'll be back next week, next Monday, with a full episode. And in the meantime, have a great week, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on My Wife, the Dietitian. If you like what you heard, don't be shy. Leave us a comment or review, and be sure to share our podcast with your friends. If you'd like to hear more, hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on our social media pages for updates, episode trailers, and other odds and ends. For more info and links on what we discussed on today's episode, check the show notes. We'll be back next week with another informative and fun-filled episode.